Hey y'all, it's Andrea. Welcome back to VW Family Farm. I've got some things to do today. I've got to get out in the garden. I've got to get in the fruit tree orchards and things like that. But I wanted to start out here in the garage. Ben's out here with me. He's actually behind the camera. But we have something we want to show you guys. Not too long ago, you know, we had an Arctic storm here. And before that, we were having freezing temperatures and just pretty much gross weather all throughout the winter. It can be gross to get out and work in especially, and it will put your boots to the test. So around that time, we realized most of our boots, like yours, probably had holes in them. And that is a recipe for disaster when you're mucking through mud and snow and all kinds of stuff. So we reached out to a few boot companies and said, hey, would you be willing to send our family some boots? We will put them to the test. We cannot promise you that we will say anything positive about your company because we're literally going to put them to the test. And if we like them, we will tell our audience about them. And if we don't, we may tell our audience about that too. So that leads us to today. Ben and I have some boots we want to show you guys. We've actually got some more that we're going to be testing out, but I want to start with this pair because so far I am sold on these. So this is my pair. This boot company is actually called Perfect Storm. Their home base is up in New Hampshire, and I love these things. These are amazing. First off, I really like this handle because there's still boot underneath there. There's neoprene still under it. So it's not just a big hole in your boot. Because if you're like us and you have mucky, muddy situations, mud or poop or whatever, water would get down in there. So I like that. Really like this right here, this tab. It's really great for pulling them off. I'm not going to pull them off right now, but I love that feature. Another thing I like is just how comfortable these things are. Especially the men's pairs. They're on more like a hiking boot sole, similar to that. They didn't actually say the women's were, but guys, these are the most comfortable boots I've ever worn. And we've worn a lot of boots around here. Long before we were doing YouTube, we were spending money on muck boots and bogs and all the big names, and they just weren't lasting for the price. So then we went to some pretty cheap boots at maybe $40 a pair, and we were having to buy those every single year, and they weren't lasting either, getting holes in them. So that's why we reached out to them. They told us right off the bat, this Perfect Storm company, they said, that's why mine are dirty. They said, don't pull them out of the box and make a video. We don't want any type of like commercial advertisement, which we were on board with too, because we don't like to do that to you guys. We only want to bring stuff to you that we really believe in and we've tried out. And so that's why mine are dirty, because I've been wearing them, and I'm going to give these 2 thumbs up.
So like Andrea said, we had went from mucks, bogs, and we had Magellan. I've actually had these pair for a couple years, and they're still in decent shape. But the thing about them is they really kill my feet. They hurt. And I was battling plantar fasciitis, I think that's how you say it, for about 2 years. And I could not wear a muck boot. I could not wear these boots. I could not wear any boot. So pretty much what I've done with these now is just throw them away. So these boots right here are the Shelter Highs. They almost feel like you're wearing tennis shoes. They are an amazing boot, and I've been tickled to death with them, and I would not tell you otherwise. And just like Andrea said, they've got the same little grip where you can pull them up, but you're not going to get debris in the hole. I would give these 2 thumbs up also. Okay, and let's just be clear. The only reason that his Magellans are even still standing and don't have holes in them like mine and the kids is because he's not here every day. And I didn't wear them all the time. And when he got plantar fasciitis, he chunked them because they literally about ruined his feet. He would get out of bed hobbling in the mornings, and it would just get worse throughout the day. And so he was to the point he was having to do foot exercises, foot stretches, to even be able to just walk. And I'm not even sure, were you like 40 at the time or something like that? Maybe less. And it's like, this is crazy. When is he going to be like it when he really gets some age on him, you know? So it's really been great to find some that actually feel good on your feet, I think. I actually enjoy wearing these. Yeah. So I got some stuff to get busy doing. I am going to head to the garden and take you guys with me. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go feed my cabbages and some of my things in my garden. I actually found this just at the store, just at Tractor Supply, and I'm not getting anything for telling you this.
And in fact, we don't even have a link or anything for the boots or a discount code or anything like that. I just wanted to tell you guys about it so you could benefit. But I don't actually have anything else to feed my plants right now. I need to get some more stuff ordered, but I just picked this up so I can give them their first shot in the arm. And this is actually organic. I'm not a big Miracle-Gro fan necessarily, but this is a good organic, just plain plant food. It's probably not exactly what each plant needs, but it's a good start. So I'm going to first put some gloves on. Okay, so you can take this and put it in a Miracle-Gro feeder, but I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just going to do this manually. So if you were doing that, you would take the big end of this scoop and you would take 2 of these and mix it with a gallon of water. Now I've got a plastic container here. It's actually a big sour cream container and it'll hold a half gallon. So I'm actually just going to do 1 of these. Then I'm going to put the lid on, give it a little shake, or you could give it a stir and get it dissolved in there. So these are some little cabbage plants that I sprouted a while back. So I'm gonna get busy. I gotta go all the way down that row. All right, I got that done. It is also a great time to fertilize your strawberries. At least it is here in Arkansas. Arkansas is a huge strawberry growing state. Ours are actually already blooming here. We'll have strawberries really probably pretty quick. Usually in April we start having strawberries. There's strawberry festivals and things in April, so that tells you there's usually lots of strawberries. There's all kinds of strawberry fertilizers you can get. I'm going to use one that we got just off Amazon. There's all kinds. I don't have a favorite kind, or else I would share it with you guys, but there's fertilizer specific to strawberries you can look for, as well as that one I just used that I just got from TSC that was an organic Miracle-Gro fertilizer that's suitable for strawberries as well. If you get just a broad fertilizer, organic or not, it's not going to be exactly what each plant needs. So if you have something that you really want to do well, or that's really struggling, you might want to look for that plant's specific needs. Otherwise, you can just use one that's generally good for all of them. Okay, before I get to fertilizing these strawberries, I want to show you what a strawberry runner is. Strawberries will quickly take over, but also it's a beautiful thing because they will grow you more plants without you even really trying. They'll put out what's called a runner. You can break or snip that off, and then you can plant that somewhere else where you might have an empty spot. I'm going to collect some, and then we're going to take them and stick them in the green stalk. So this is a perfect example of a runner. You can see this is coming off of this plant right here, and it is ran way out here. And then you can see this looks a whole lot like those bare root strawberries I just planted last week. That's what it came like. Of course, it didn't have all this green foliage, but you can actually snip this off. You can take this and you can plant this right in the dirt and you have a new plant. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a few of these harvested. So I was gonna show y'all, these are some runners that have already, they will plant themselves. This is some, on the edge of this bed, this is some dirt that it has found. They're gonna run and they're gonna find somewhere to plant themselves down in here. There's a bunch of them that have done it. And then they'll basically be a new plant. I did find that one up on this plastic. They have a little bit harder time planting themselves because they're on plastic. They will do it. They'll actually grow down through that. And I'm a little bit late. They've already done that and set roots, so I'm not gonna disturb a whole bunch of them. I am gonna take that one I found and put in the green stalk so I can show you guys later how that does. Last thing I'm gonna feed while I'm out here is the onions. I have some, it's 10-20-10 fertilizer from Dixondale Farms. That's who we got our onions from, and that's who this has come from as well. Gonna give them a little shot because they haven't done a whole lot. It's been kind of crummy weather for them. I think this is just gonna be just what they needed. And you can get organic fertilized from them, as well as they have some options. Not all options mean that they're totally terrible to use on your vegetables. Just not everything is quote unquote certified organic. And that goes for a lot of things. So if you trust the company and you find out how they're doing things, just because something's not certified organic doesn't mean it's bad. And they have some really great options for onions. They have some weed and feed options that helps you with grass control, and I'm not talking about that it contains nasty herbicides and things necessarily, but just things that will inhibit grass from growing, because if you've ever weeded onions, it is a tedious job. It's hard work bending over doing that. So just look into it and make your own decisions. But I'm going to get these fed, and then I'm going to move on to fruit trees. All right, I think everything has had a good dose of nutrition. Now let me just give you a word of advice. The way I was fertilizing onions is probably not the most preferred way. You really should work it into your soil and then plant your onions in good fertilized soil, but I didn't do that this year, so I had to just make it work. I only did half my onions. I wound up stopping because it's a sort of experiment and I didn't want to hurt all my onions. But if you haven't planted yours yet, I would definitely work your fertilizer into your soil first. So let's head in the greenhouse. I need to water the green stalk, and I'm gonna stick this strawberry in there. We're gonna see how that does, see if that just takes off. I think it probably will. We've done this before and planted these in the ground. Thank you to everyone who has ordered a green stalk. That is so awesome. We so appreciate that. That helps our farm so much when you use our code and save yourself money. And it also tells them we sent you, and that in turn helps us so much. So thank you. If you haven't got yourself one, I encourage you to do so. I'm gonna get me a couple more. I really think they're beautiful. I wanna plant herbs in them this year. I've just seen people's green stalks that are just overflowing with herbs and those little things that just take up room, and you're like, I wanna grow this, but where can I put it? All kinds of stuff. I want one with flowers, maybe a couple of them with flowers and a couple with herbs. I don't know yet, but I'm just really excited to have it. I have not had to water it every day. People have asked me that. I have not, but it is in my greenhouse, which is pretty humid this time of year. So if it's outside, it may need watering a little bit more. And I was in touch with Greenstock actually, and on this one where I told you there's numbers on here and you fill it up to a certain number, you don't do that anymore. They've improved their design. You actually just water until it starts trickling out the bottom, and that means that all the discs are full and that it's you put the proper amount of water. I may not be explaining that correctly, but they come with instructions, and everything that I have received from them has been so easy to understand. So I'm sure it tells you exactly how to do it. If you haven't got one, I encourage you to go check them out. They're a cool company, and let's get this strawberry planted. So I'm gonna lay this down actually. Then I'm gonna make a hole up here. This was an empty hole I had. So I'm just going to make a pretty good size hole in there. And then you want to plant it, you don't want to bury this greenery. I don't even think we need this thing on there, so I'm going to actually break that off. So now we are going to plant this just down in there. I may have got the hole a little too deep. I'm going to fill that back in a little bit. Then I'm going to stick this in there and just not cover where this greenery is coming out of that like root wad down there. You don't want to cover any of that, or you'll pretty much, it's a death sentence for your plant. So just go up to there. You've given it soil. This was not in soil yet. It had not rooted itself because it was on that plastic. So now that it has got good moist soil, you could give this a little drink if you want to. This thing will probably just go crazy. So I'm gonna give this guy a drink, and then we're gonna move on to fruit trees. I actually think I changed my mind. It's pretty damp, so I think I'm gonna leave it like it is. And Greenstock actually recommends filling these up to the top. Mine has settled quite a bit, so I'm probably gonna wind up, as time goes on, putting more potting soil in here and filling these on up to the tippy top, just to give maximum space for roots and things to grow. So that's just something to think about, that as you water it, it's gonna settle. Maybe pack it down in there really good. I probably didn't pack mine. I wanted mine kind of loose, and I think that was a bit of a mistake. So as you're filling them up, pack it a little bit. Well, I ran out of daylight again. That happens to me a lot this time of year. I actually got the fruit tree sprayed. I wore face protection plus a mask plus double gloves. It doesn't really matter to me if I'm using organic or non-organic sprays. I like to be safe, and I encourage you to as well. I like to protect my skin because those things, whether they're organic or not, can soak in, and I just don't like that. So I just encourage you, be careful. Always read the directions. Like the one I was spraying, a lot of sprays, even organic sprays, are harmful to bees. So just read up on that. It's in the fine print. Be sure that if you are spraying something that's harmful to bees, wait until right at dark. Bees are already in the hive, and then whatever you're spraying has time to dry, and it will probably not harm them in the morning, most likely, but just be careful. I bought a all-around complete fruit tree spray. That's what I sprayed today. I actually bought me a new 1.5 gallon pump sprayer. Nothing special, just a cheap model I picked up at TSC. Have me a little glass in there to measure with, my double gloves, and then I will use that only on probably that type of spray. I don't like to mix them up. I did wash it out really good, so it could be used on something else, but I'll probably be careful there. One thing I did want to mention before I wrap this up, it is time, at least here in our zone, which is zone 7B, to be spraying your fruit trees. A lot of them are budding or blooming or about to or whatever, and you can just, if you start looking at when to spray your fruit trees, because you may be thinking, why in the world would I even want to spray my fruit trees? Well, a couple things. If you don't spray your fruit trees, more than likely there are different types of bugs that will lay eggs when your tree is blooming, and then your fruit will form around something that's going to hatch out. You see holes in your fruit, like in your peaches or your apples or whatever, cherries, and you think something went in, and in reality something hatched and went out, and they have messed up a lot of your fruit. So there are different things you can spray. There's different theories on when to do it. Some people will say do it at this stage or that stage, and they'll say something different for every different type of tree there is. So if you have a little variety like we do, peaches, plums, cherries, apples, all the different things, pears, you can really, in the past I've just gotten bogged down and thought, what does it matter? I can't understand all this. I'm not going to do any of this right. But you can. You will learn as you go. But to start out with, I would recommend getting a complete fruit tree spray. Start basic. Again, with the fertilizer, it may not be exactly the on time of what that tree needs, or exactly the certain thing that you need to be spraying, but it is a great place to start. I guarantee you it will improve your fruit and improve your yield, because you won't be cutting out half of it due to insects and things damaging it. So anyway, that's just my theory. Do something rather than just getting overwhelmed like I do sometimes and doing nothing. But that's what we got going on. Get out there and feed those gardens, whatever you choose to feed them with. Just get out in the sunshine. It feels really good. The weather is starting to warm up most places, and so just get out and enjoy it. I hope this is the best spring that you've ever had. I hope that even if you're going through hard times right now, that you find some joy in it, and you just find some joy out in nature and in gardening and just in the beauty all around us. I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope you have a fantastic day. God bless.